warm welcome to you all. It's great being here again. Must have been good last time you've invited me back. Some of you have asked, if anyone's interested, I've got a second book out and there are copies at the back. If you're interested, please help yourself to one. If you want to put a donation, that's fine. If you want to just take it, that's great. I'd sooner you read it and it be on your shelf than on mine, so help yourselves, please. It never ceases to amaze me how God put things together. I think even with Helen's talk to us this morning and even the words of some of the songs and even what I'm about to share, God has his own agenda. Have you noticed that before?
Oh, yes.
So, this morning we're having an anniversary celebration, is that right?
Yep.
What are we celebrating?
Harvest Church.
Somebody said Harvest Church.
56 years that we've been here in Hay Lane.
You've been here 56 years. Is that a good celebration? Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything else? That's a good start, isn't it? But I would imagine in all that what we're really celebrating is God's goodness, his faithfulness, his loving kindness, his grace, his mercy. Are we not?
Yes.
That's the biggest celebration. That's the reason why we're really here, isn't it? That's the reason why we exist. And Jesus came to demonstrate the love of his Father for us in all those ways. And as Helen alluded to earlier, ultimately he paid the high price because his love is so great for all humanity. And that's the nature of God. That's who he is. And he's the same yesterday, today, tomorrow, forever. He doesn't change. You know, we can be quite fickle, can't we, if we're honest? We're like this. But God is the same. He never changes. He remains constant. And nor does his purpose change. And in this sense, he is, I would describe first and foremost as a missional God. He came in search of us. That was his mission. To free us from sin's enslavement, to reconcile us, to redeem us, to restore us. He came, he sought, and he found. You and me. It's the only reason we're here. And in that sense, he's the God who gathers. His mission is to gather. He draws us into community, into relationships with himself and with one another. But here's the thing, because what he does, he also calls us to do. Jesus says, the Father has sent me, I'm sending you. In the same way that I have been sent, so I am sending you. To do what? To gather. He is a God who gathers and calls us to be a people who gather. So that others also may follow him and be reconciled to him in wholeness and well-being, to have life in all its fullness. John in his Gospel makes very clear the difference between two sides. The enemy comes to steal and to kill and to destroy. But I have come to give you life in all its fullness. We gather because God first called and gathered people into relationship with himself. When Jesus came as man, hi. You're fine, carry on.
That's a good boy.
You know, when Jesus came as my man, he gathered others to follow him and build community with him. And we see in the early church that the same ethos extended to that church, gathering and growing numerically and spiritually. Gathering is about being relational and missional. Jesus' great commission to us is to go and make disciples. It's interesting, I don't know if you've ever noticed reading the Gospels, but it's worth just doing this little check amongst yourselves. How often is it recorded Jesus being in the synagogues compared to how often he was in the community?
It's true.
What does that tell us? The church, therefore, is a gathering community, and central to its DNA is the embracing of others and journeying with them, sharing God's love for us and establishing and extending God's kingdom here on earth. You know, as human beings, we naturally gather with others, don't we? Because we are primarily relational beings. We weren't created to be islands, isolated from one another. But there's a world out there that actually does exactly that. It isolates and it separates people. Have you noticed? Everything about what you do is designed to isolate you. I can do all my shopping online. I can do everything online. I can work from home. I don't have to have contact, physical contact with anybody in this world anymore. That's what the world promotes. But the God who created us for relationships. All of us have places of gathering, of belonging, as family, as friends, as church fellowship, in our workplaces, our schools, our colleges, and in the wider communities we belong to. Natural settings where we gather with others. Because that's who we are. That's what we naturally do. If nothing else, COVID exposed that, didn't it? How many people suffered in isolation when all we wanted to do was gather? And gathering is what our passage today relates to. There is a great harvest that Jesus calls his disciples to engage with and gather in. He calls them to go and build relationships with the wider community. We read from that reading in Luke's Gospel. You know, go to all the towns, get out there. And when you meet somebody, let your peace be shared with them. Eat with them. Don't move about, whatever they give you. In other words, build relationships with them. Community is about building relationships with people. Not just people we're familiar with, but people that actually God calls us to relate to. So what was it that drove Jesus in this way? One word: compassion. In Matthew chapter 9 we read this. But when Jesus saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion for them, because they were weary and scattered like sheep having no shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest truly is plentiful, but the labourers are few. Therefore pray to the Lord of the harvest to send out labourers into his harvest." Compassion is at the heart of everything that God does. And we see that compassion demonstrated throughout the whole of the Old Testament and the New Testament. Example after example. Think of Moses being called to free up an enslaved and oppressed people under another regime. Elijah, as we read today, called to rescue a widow and her son from starvation during famine and a drought. Philip called to minister to an Ethiopian eunuch looking for answers. Peter sent to a centurion's house, crossing cultural boundaries and divides. Paul encouraging a bewildered and fearful jailer following an earthquake while he was imprisoned. The list is endless. It goes on and on and on, because God hears the cry of people. And there are many reasons why people are bewildered with the issues of life and searching for answers. Increasingly so, the world is providing less and less safety and security. Where is it all heading? All we hear on the news are wars and rumours of wars and earthquakes and troubles and everything disintegrating, and even within our own societies and community, the fabric of everything is falling apart, and people are wondering, where's it all going? There is no sense of safety or security anymore anywhere. Not even in our neighbourhoods. Children are being snatched away from their childhood. 4-year-olds carrying knives. I don't need to describe it to you. You know what I'm talking about. And God hears the cry of people who are lost, who are distressed, who are in despair, who are isolated, lonely, in fear, hopeless, helpless, vulnerable, suffering, impoverished. And his heart is filled with compassion. And he sends us, you and me, us, his church, to bring comfort, reassurance, hope, meaning, purpose, direction, healing into people's lives. He's only got one church. He has only got one church. And he looks to her to follow him into the dark recesses of our communities. To bring his light into the hearts of all those who don't know him, who are lost and afraid. So where are the harvest fields here? Where is he calling his church to gather, to encourage one another, to participate in what he is doing? Because the harvest is vast and it's ripe. In this day and age, it is ripe. People are searching for God more than we realise. In fact, I would go so far as people are searching for God more than we want to share God with. And they don't know where to look unless they are shown and helped and encouraged. I suppose you could say this is a bit of a wake-up call for all of us. But imagine for one moment a gathering place in the centre of town where the whole community can come together. A place where the lonely, the vulnerable, the isolated can find companionship and friendship in a safe and welcoming environment. A place where networks together all the community groups and organisations where you can access facilities and resources, support and help, whatever issues you're struggling with. A place where you can offer your skills to help and get alongside others. A place where you can build relationships and share good news, bringing encouragement and hope to others. Wouldn't that be a good place? Wouldn't that be a great place to start? What do you think? How many of you would want to invest in a place like that? No one? One person? Two? Come on, seriously. This is interactive. How many of you would want to invest in a place like that?
Yes.
Where communities come and share together, where there's that sense of wholeness. You know, so often people say, where do I go for this, or who do I see about that? Or I seem to have fallen between two stools, or I don't know where to, but I need... And to say, go there. Is that the sort of place you'd want to invest in? Well, I want to say to you this morning, that place actually exists. It's called Braintree Bridge. A vision given to us a few years ago that has now come into being. And we're based and centred in Helen's resource place, the Food and More. We're there every Monday from 10 until 2 o'clock. And I'll tell you, I haven't got time this morning, but the stories, maybe over lunch you can ask us, some of the stories